Am I right here? Hello and welcome to Module 4 of the Science of Investing. In Module 1 we learned that matter cannot be created or destroyed. This of course is Newton's first law of thermodynamics. But is this really the case? In subsequent modules we have seen that money can behave in anomalous ways. If we look at a simple example, we can challenge this observation. We've all, for example, had the experience of money spontaneously and inexplicably appearing down the back of the sofa. In this module, we're going to examine why. Let's start with a simple example. All of us have a bank account. An observer watching the bank account will see over time that the value of cash there in absolute terms remains completely stable. However, relative to prices, the value of that cash will decrease over time. This is an effect that we call fiscal entropy, and it seems to be paralleled by price inflation. At the same time, we also see that the same quantum of cash invested into an asset-backed investment, such as the FTSE 100, bonds or shares, will tend to increase in value, often faster than price inflation. Thus we see that the value of money and its change over time depends upon the frame of reference. We wanted to know why. Our research group, based at the Centre for Experimental Research at Norwich, called CERN, obtained a £10 million government grant to look into this phenomena. Our group was led by Dr Derek Hardcastle and Dr Clive Ronalds. Together, they created the Hadron Collider. This is buried deep underground in the East Anglia countryside outside of Norwich. Within the collider, we accelerated pound coins towards each other using a massive elastic band created for us by the Acme Corporation. These were accelerated through concentric joined spent and supercooled toilet roll holders and collided at nearly the speed of light, or relativistic speeds as we call them. When we collated the data, we noticed some amazing observations. The first observation was that Doctors Hardcastle and Ronald had completely vanished. We also noticed that our grant funding had also disappeared. We cannot say whether these events were in fact correlated or indeed related. We also noticed a residual boson bear to which was attached a cryptic note saying, "See you later, losers." A mystery. With no money left and very few choices, we decided that we would review historic data on our own investments to see if there was an underlying relationship. When we looked at our investments, we noticed that in the very short term, there was no discernible pattern. What we saw was random volatility in the value of our investments. This was over a period of maybe months or even just a few years. In the longer term, we noticed that time seemed to dilate the value of our investments along a fairly smooth curve, which we would describe as asymptotic. So the value of money seems to accelerate the longer we leave it invested. An effect we have already said is called compounding. We can describe this relationship with an equation. The future value of our investment is equal to the present value at any time multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate we are receiving, all raised to a power of the number of years the money is invested. We then decided we would investigate how this curve would be affected by plugging in different rates of interest. As we might predict, in the longer term, the higher the interest rate, the faster the curve accelerated, and the higher the value at any point in the future. if we plug in a lower interest rate, predictably see a lower rate of growth. We specifically took a frame of reference looking at the time taken for our money to double in value. Empirical observations demonstrated that this point for any growth curve is described by the number 72 divided by the interest rate we're receiving on our investment. So, the time taken for our investments to double in value are the interest rate divided into the number 72. We found that this relationship seems to work quite well up until around 15%, and then we're making so much money we don't really care. Of course, this observation would be even more meaningful if we still had our grant left to invest. Amazing. We can also see that money appears to be subject to the Heisenberg or observer effect, that if you don't keep your eye on it, someone will have it. Anyway, that's all for this module. We look forward to seeing you in module 5. A full transcript of this program is available in your course notes, and we'll see you next time. Are we finished? Are we out?